So returns under GST segment 11. In this returns under GST, so we have QRMP scheme. So QRMP scheme refers to quarterly return monthly payment scheme, and a person is required to go for QRMP, that is a person can opt for QRMP if their aggregate turnover during previous year does not exceed 5 crores, and also that in the current year they should ensure that their aggregate turnover during any quarter is not crossing 5 crores. If they cross 5 crores of aggregate turnover in any quarter, from that next quarter onwards they will not be eligible for QRMP. Is it clear? So it is like, even though the words given there are, but actually it is like and. So but and means it will become a literal interpretation. So that's the reason why there are should be understood as and, which means two conditions. Condition number 1, previous year aggregate turnover should not exceed 5 crores, plus current year also any quarter, up to any quarter aggregate turnover should not exceed 5 crores. Then QRMP is available, and QRMP is GSTIN wise, not like composition scheme, all in or all out. So which means if I have 4 registrations, for few registrations I can go for QRMP, for few registrations I can go for normal, okay. And then if they go for QRMP, what is the time limit by which they need to file GSTR1? So 20th GSTR1 by 13th of the month following every quarter, GSTR3B by 22nd or 24th of the month following every quarter. Which case 22nd, which case 24th? So you need to remember, in India map, G, M, C, A and states below that. G for Gujarat, M for not Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and then Chhattisgarh, and then Andhra Pradesh. So GMCA and states below that. So below that we have Maharashtra and Telangana, all those states. So then it will be 22nd of the month following every quarter. For the states above the GMCA, it will be 24th of the month following every quarter. That is the time limit for filing GSTR1 and 3B. Then monthly payment of tax. What is the time period by which they need to pay tax? 25th of the month following every month for the first and second month of the quarter. So first month, say for example, July to September quarter they are going for QRMP. For July, they need to pay by 25th of August. For August, they need to pay by 25th of September. And what about third month? Third month, anyhow for all these 3 months put together, they will be filing 3B by 22nd or 24th of October, in that they will be paying. And what are the two methods of making payment of tax? So they have fixed sum method and self-assessment method. And whenever they are filing GSTR1 and 3B on a quarterly basis, which means the recipient will be able to take ITC also on a quarterly basis. To avoid the discomfort to the recipient, supplier is having an option to file IFF, that is invoice furnishing facility, on a monthly basis for the first and second month of the quarter by 13th of the month following every month. What about third month? Anyhow for all these 3 months put together, they will be filing one GSTR1 by 13th of the month following every quarter. So first and second month only IFF is required, but this details furnished in IFF is only with respect to B2B supplies, and the recipient will be able to take this ITC in GSTR2B, okay. And what is the time limit to opt in into QRMP? So remember, A for after, B for before. 1 month after commencement of quarter and 2 months before commencement of quarter, they need to opt for QRMP, which means, for example, July to September quarter, I want to go for QRMP. What is the time limit? 1 month after commencement of quarter means July end, and 2 months before commencement of the quarter, that is May 1st. So May 1st onwards until July end, I can go into QRMP anytime. But I should ensure one thing, that the last return has been filed before exercising the option, which means all monthly returns I should complete filing, and then only I should go for quarterly return. And GSTR1 or availing IFF facility, is IFF facility optional or mandatory? This will be optional. and this is only for the first 2 months of the quarter, and they need to file the details of outward supply by 13th of the month following every month. And whatever details that is furnished in IFF for the first and second month need not be again furnished in GSTR1, it will automatically coming in GSTR1, only the third month details they need to enter in GSTR1. And exception, that is the details of outward supply shall not exceed 50 lakhs in each month. I don't know why that point is given, but in every month how much outward supply data they can enter only to the extent of 50 lakhs. And suppose if this option they are not opting, then what will happen? That is this IFF option. If they are not going for this IFF option, what will happen? All 3 months data they need to enter in GSTR1. Then payment method, there are 2 methods, fixed sum method and self-assessment method. Under fixed sum method, what will happen? We need to take the previous quarter. So fixed sum method, we need to take the previous quarter or previous month 3B. Okay. So for example, we are into the QRMP for the quarter July to September. Now we need to take the previous 3B. Is previous 3B quarterly 3B or monthly 3B? When it will be quarterly 3B, for previous quarter also if you have opted for QRMP, then it will be quarterly 3B. Otherwise it will be monthly 3B. So take the previous quarterly 3B into 35%, you need to pay as fixed sum method amount in the first and second month. Logic simple. So quarterly 3B means what? 3 months. So 3 months means divided by 3, we will get 1 month, 33.33, rounded off to 35%. So like that. So net liability, how much you paid in 3B in the previous quarter into 35%, 35% of tax liability in cash paid in the preceding quarter. Suppose previous 3B is monthly, then 100% of the tax liability in cash paid in the last month of the preceding quarter. So this is under fixed sum method. Under self-assessment method, we will compute how much is the actual liability. So how much we need to pay as liability minus how much ITC we have, that differential amount we pay under self-assessment method. Then any change in the manner of filing 3B? No, there is no change in manner of filing 3B. And so whether we give all the details of invoices in GSTR1 quarterly or monthly only, even though you are under QRMP, but GSTR1 data you will upload monthly only. 3B alone you will prepare on a quarterly basis. Is it clear? GSTR1 will be data uploaded on a monthly basis. 3B alone you will be filing on a quarterly basis. Then compulsory opt-out. When you will be compulsorily coming out of this QRMP, whenever your aggregate turnover exceeds 5 crores. And any late fee, yes, there is late fee for delay in filing GSTR1 and GSTR3B. But for IFF there is no late fee because IFF is optional. And interest, this is important. Interest on account of short payment or non-payment under QRMP. Now listen, you are under fixed sum method. You are under fixed sum method. You have to pay by 25th of the month following every month. So you have to pay under fixed sum method some amount. Say you did not pay by 25th. Then for delay, you have to pay interest at 18% per annum. Is it clear or not? For example, July month, you have to pay 35,000 rupees. Say previous quarter 3B liability is 1 lakh. So 1 lakh into 35%, 35,000 you have to pay by July. For July month, you have to pay by 25th of August. Now you paid it on 31st August. So how many days delay? 6 days delay. For that 6 days delay, interest needs to be computed at 18% per annum on what amount? On that 35,000 rupees. So 35,000 rupees into 18% into 6 divided by 365. Clear? Then same way, second month also we need to compute if there is a delay in payment of second month tax liability. Understood? Then suppose if there is any differential liability, say 35,000 rupees we paid under fixed sum method, but the actual liability is 40,000 rupees. On the differential amount, whether we need to pay any interest? No, we are not required to pay any interest. See this, tax with respect to first month or second month of the quarter not paid by 25th of next month. Interest we need to compute at 18% per annum from 26th of next month till the date of payment. And differential tax, what is differential tax? Actual tax paid, actual tax minus tax paid. So with respect to first month and second month of the quarter, whether any interest arises? No. because you are under fixed sum method. Suppose if you go to self-assessment method, you have to pay. So people, to discourage the people to go into self-assessment method only, they brought this interest actually. So that is, you paid under self-assessment method 35,000, but the actual liability is 40,000. Now that 5,000 rupees you have to pay interest because you are under self-assessment method. Had it been fixed sum method, you don't have to pay that interest. So interest at 18% per annum from 26th of the next month till the date of payment. This is on what? Differential amount. You understood the difference? Clear? So in fixed sum method that interest is not there, but on self-assessment method interest is there. Then suppose 3B is filed late. If GSTR 3B is filed late, then from 22nd or 24th afterwards, that is 23rd or 25th till the date of filing 3B, you need to pay the interest. That is common. So in fixed sum method and self-assessment method, first interest and the last interest is common, but the second interest alone, so we will not be having in fixed sum method, but it will be there in self-assessment method. Next, we have time limits for various returns. So GSTR 1 is a return which is to be filed by every registered person giving the details of their outward supplies. And what is the time limit for filing GSTR 1? 11th of the month following every month. And if it is QRMP, 13th of the month following every quarter. And in case of IFF, 13th of the month following every month for the first and second month. GSTR 3B is a summary return, and that summary return is to be filed by 20th of the month following every month if QRMP not opted. If QRMP opted, 22nd or 24th. What are the notified states? I told you now to remember: Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh, GMCA and states below that. GMCA and states below that 22nd, other states it is 24th. Then CMP 8, who will be filing CMP 8? Composition scheme. What is the time limit? 18th of the month following every quarter. GSTR 4 is an annual return filed by a person opting for composition scheme. Time limit is 30th April of the succeeding financial year. GSTR 5 is a return to be filed by NRTP, non-resident taxable person. Now there is an amendment. Previously it was 20th of the month following every month or 7 days from expiry of registration, whichever is earlier. That is amended to 13th of the month following every month or 7 days from expiry of registration, whichever is earlier. And GSTR 5A is a return to be filed by OIDR supplier located outside India and regular like 3B only, 20th of the month following every month. GSTR 6 by input service distributor by 13th of the month following every month. GSTR 7 and GSTR 8 is TDS and TCS by 10th of the month following every month. GSTR 9, 9B, 9C, so annual return needs to be filed by 31st December of the succeeding financial year. GSTR 9C was previously audit report, but now it is a reconciliation statement, self-certified reconciliation statement. And when this GSTR 9C will be applicable, if aggregate turnover during the year, during a previous year means completed year. So for the completed year only now we file annual return. So for the previous year exceeds 5 crores, means aggregate turnover for the year for which we are filing GSTR 9C exceeds 5 crores. So then only 9C will be required, which is a self-certified reconciliation statement. And 9B, who will be filing? E-commerce operator. And GSTR 10 is an annual return, so final return, which is required to be filed after cancellation of registration. What is the time limit for filing this final return? 3 months from the date of cancellation or order of cancellation, whichever is later, not whichever is earlier, whichever is later. Whether this 3 months should be taken for date of cancellation or order of cancellation or both? Only for date of cancellation. This is one point. Then order of cancellation is another point, whichever is later. And GSTR 11, details of inward supplies of UIN holder. Who is a UIN holder? Unique identification number holder. That is UN agencies, embassies or consulates. So they will be filing GSTR 11 at the time of claiming refund with respect to whatever purchases they have made. So that details they need to submit. But there is no time limit for GSTR 11. As and when they make refund claim, at that time they will be submitting GSTR 11. And some special points on returns, we have sequential filing of returns. Sequential filing of returns means without filing GSTR 1 of that month, you cannot file the 3B of that month. And without filing 3B of the previous month, you cannot file the GSTR 1 of the second month. And without filing GSTR 1 of second month, 3B of that month. Like that, there is a sequential filing of returns. And government on the recommendations of GST Council may allow a person to file GSTR 1 even if GSTR 1 is not filed for prior periods. So mainly, lot of taxpayers were asking for this ITC. So for that reason only, so even if the GSTR 1 is not filed for any prior period, so as a stopgap arrangement or as a transition arrangement, so the point is given, means even if the GSTR 1 is not filed for the last year, we can file the GSTR 1 now, like that they are giving this, okay. And who are not required to file GSTR 1 or 3B, remember tonic. So tonic not required to file GSTR 1 or 3B. In the tonic T is 2 times, TDS, TCS. Why they are not required? Because they are filing GSTR 7, GSTR 8. O is OIDR supplier. Why? Because they are filing 5A. And N, NRTP, because they are filing GSTR 5. I, input service distributor, because they are filing GSTR 6. Then composition scheme dealer, because they are filing CMP 8. Same way, who are not required to file annual return. Remember CAG tonic. CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General, that is those books of accounts, those entities whose books of accounts are subject to audit by CAG, so there also annual return not required. And tonic, T for TDS, not TCS, because TCS is e-commerce operator, they are required to file GSTR 9B. O for OIDR supplier, and N for non-resident taxable person. I is input service distributor. C is not composition scheme, because composition scheme is required to file annual return GSTR 4. It is casual taxable person. Then late fee for delay in filing return. So this late fee for GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B, if it is nil return, 10 rupees per day subject to maximum 250 rupees. If it is other than nil return, 25 rupees per day, but subject to maximum will change. If the aggregate turnover during previous year exceeds 5 crores, then the maximum will be 5,000. If the aggregate turnover during previous year exceeds 1.5 crores, but does not exceed 5 crores, then 2,500. If the aggregate turnover during the previous year does not exceed 1.5 crores, then it will be 1,000. Okay. So maximum will be 5,000, 2,500 and 1,000. When 5,000, if aggregate turnover during previous year exceeds 5 crores, 5,000. Does not exceed 5, but exceeds 1.5, then it will be 2,500. Does not exceed 1.5 crores, then it will be 1,000. So then, in case of GSTR 5, 5A and 6, it will be, maximum will be same. Maximum will be 5,000. Maximum will be 5,000. But per day late fee will change. That is, if it is nil return, 10 rupees per day, other than nil return, 25 rupees per day, but the maximum is always 5,000. Then in case of GSTR 7 and 8, long back we discussed. GSTR 7, 25 rupees per day subject to maximum 1,000. GSTR 8, 100 rupees per day subject to maximum 5,000. And GSTR 4 is annual return to be filed by a person opting for composition scheme. Who can opt for composition scheme? Whose aggregate turnover during previous year does not exceed 1.5 crores. Generally, if aggregate turnover does not exceed 1.5 crores, what is the maximum late fee? 1,000 rupees. So, therefore, you remember that provision. Nil return 10 rupees per day subject to maximum 250. Other than nil return 100 rupees per day subject to maximum 1,000. 25 rupees per day subject to maximum 1,000. And GSTR 9, 9B, 9C annual return 100 rupees per day subject to maximum 0.25% of the turnover. Maximum will change. And all this late fee is under CGST Act. Means the same amount of late fee will be payable under SGST Act also. Then filing nil return through SMS. There are 3 returns which can be filed through SMS, but all the data, all the entries in the return should be nil. That is GSTR 1, GSTR 3B and CMP 8. So these 3 returns, all the entries, means input tax credit also should not be there. Everything is 0, then we can file the return through SMS. Then first return, section 40, that is whenever post registration we are filing our first return GSTR1 and GSTR3B, not only the details of that month for which we are filing return, but also details of the period before that, that is from the date we are liable to get registered, everything should be included in the first return. Then notice to return defaulter. Suppose if a person has not filed returns, then notice will be given in GSTR 3A, and once notice is given in GSTR 3A, within 15 days from the date of notice the returns should be filed. If the returns are not filed within 15 days from the date of notice, then it will lead to best judgment assessment. Okay. Then rectification of returns. Which returns can be rectified? GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. What is the time limit for rectification now? 30th November of the succeeding financial year or actual date of filing annual return, whichever is earlier. Then how the details of outward taxable supplies should be entered in GSTR 1. If it is B2B supplies, always it should be entered invoice wise. If it is B2C supplies, divide it into two, interstate, intrastate. Intrastate we can consolidate, and interstate what we need to do? So we should check whether the invoice value is more than 2,50,000 or does not exceed 2,50,000 per invoice. If the invoice value exceeds 2,50,000 per invoice, then we need to do invoice wise. Suppose if the invoice value does not exceed 2,50,000, all those invoices we can do state wise consolidation. Okay. So that is with respect to this.